the most popular question you're going to get asked when you become an airline pilot is, which routes do you fly? And I remember when I was initially in training at a regional airline, one of the guys I was working with, he was upgraded to captain, and he told me this. And I just thought he was full of BS. I'm like, no, people are going to ask all sorts of questions. That's wrong. They're just going to ask you which routes you fly when you tell them you're an airline pilot. And it's a little bit humorous, but people, they don't know. And if you're not an airline pilot yet, you probably don't know yet either. It just depends on which airplane you're flying. When I was on the Brasilia, I was based in Palm Springs. For the most part, I stayed in Southern California, but I did get out to Denver and places all over Wyoming and Arizona. And if you were based on that airplane and, in Salt Lake, you would go a lot more places than just places in Salt Lake. So it kind of depends on the base you're in, the airplane you're flying. For another example, so when I was on the CRJ, I was based in Seattle. And again, I could fly anywhere in the US, but typically I did a lot of flying in Washington, Oregon, California, and Idaho, and we did venture into Utah a little bit as well. So it mostly stayed West Coast, which honestly I really loved because then I didn't have to go through a bajillion time zones all the time. Like I was usually on just a 1 or 2 hour difference, which is not a big deal. Then when I got hired on to the 7.5 and the 7.6, it was a lot more challenging of a question to answer because the 757 mostly just does domestic, it just flies all over the US. The 767 though can go everywhere, but it really still is going to depend on your base. So for being based out of Seattle, mostly what I did on the 7.6 was flying over the Pacific Ocean and doing a lot of stuff over in Asia. Being based in Salt Lake, most of flying I did on the 7.6 was Orlando, Florida, Atlanta, and then all over Europe. But I know these pilots who are based in Atlanta or New York or Detroit on these international planes, like they go everywhere the airline flies, which is pretty cool.